So if you've been posting consistently, improving your content, watching your analytics, and still roughly getting the same number of views every single video, that's not a coincidence. YouTube has calculated a number for your channel, a limit on how many people it is willing to show your videos to. And it set this limit based on your channel's history without ever telling you it existed. Most creators spend years trying to grow past that limit without knowing it's even there. Stay with me. Here's what's actually happening. Every channel on YouTube has a trust score built from your entire posting history. Every video you've ever posted, every click, every person who watched, and every person who didn't watch. YouTube combines all those signals into a trust level that determines how many people it's willing to show your next video to when you upload. That trust level creates a ceiling. A channel with low trust score gets tested on a few hundred or almost nobody. And here's the proof that YouTube is probably doing this on purpose. Your views are not random. They're not based on how good your content is. They're based on the size of the test group YouTube decided your channel deserves. Post a great video and a bad video back to back, and both will land in roughly the same view range because the ceiling does not change based on individual video quality. It changes based on your overall trust score. And YouTube decides how high you're allowed to go. And until that score changes, you're going to keep hitting that same ceiling every single time, every single upload. And here's why YouTube does this and why it's not going to change on its own. YouTube has a small amount of distribution budget, meaning there are only so many suggested feed slots and homepage recommendations available at any given moment. YouTube has to decide which channel gets access to those slots and which ones don't. And it protects the budget by only investing in channels it trusts to pass that test. When YouTube shows your video to a cold audience, someone who has never heard of you, it is spending distribution budget on a bet. If a stranger clicks and watches, YouTube gets a return on that bet and it keeps pushing, it keeps betting. If they scroll past, YouTube registers that's a loss and pulls back. A channel that consistently loses those bets gets a smaller and smaller test budget. YouTube's keeping you stuck not because they don't like you, but it's because it's their self-interest that they're protecting. It's protecting its own recommendation system by limiting channels it doesn't trust to convert to strangers. And every single one of those cold audience bets starts with your title. That is the first thing a stranger sees. That's the moment they decide whether to click or scroll. We spent a long time figuring out which title formulas consistently win that moment. Over the years, we've spent a long time studying and figuring out which title formulas consistently win that moment. We actually created a swipe file of 10 of our top outlier title hooks because now that we know that they worked, we use them in our titles to do a better job at converting cold audiences. And if you'd like to get a copy of that, just comment hooks down below and we'll send it to you. And I've literally turned these into templates so you can plug these into almost any niche. If you'd like to get a copy of that, just comment hooks down below and I'll send it to you. Because until cold audiences start clicking your titles consistently, YouTube has no reason to raise your ceiling. So you're probably wondering, does my channel have a ceiling? Well, let's go ahead and look at some things that you can do to determine if it does or if it doesn't. The first thing to look at is, are your videos consistently landing in the same view range regardless of topic or quality? You post something you know is your best work and it gets the same views as your average video. This isn't a coincidence. It's probably because you have a ceiling set. That is YouTube giving you the same size test group every single time because your trust score hasn't moved. The ceiling is set by your history, not your current effort. Remember that. Number 2, your suggested impressions are significantly lower than your browse impressions. Browse is your existing subscribers. Suggested is your cold audiences. If YouTube trusted your channel, it wouldn't be spending distribution budget testing you on strangers consistently. A low suggested impression number means YouTube has calculated your ceiling and is not willing to spend beyond it. Number 3, you've had 1 or 2 videos perform significantly better than your average, but your channel never grew from them. That's YouTube giving you a temporary test at a higher level, watching the results, and then resetting your distribution back to the ceiling it set. One good video can't override your channel's trust score. YouTube saw what happened, decided it was an anomaly, and put the ceiling back in place. So how do you actually break through the ceiling YouTube set on your channel if this is actually happening? There's actually 3 things you can do. First, clean up your channel history. Old videos with low click-through rates and poor retention are probably the reason your ceiling is where it is today. YouTube is averaging your entire posting history when it calculates your trust score. Every underperforming video sitting on your channel is pulling the average down. Now, some people would just go and say, let's delete those videos. I wouldn't do that. But what I would do is I would consider unlisting your worst performers, and that way your next video starts from a higher baseline trust score. Now, this isn't something that's going to happen overnight. It is going to take time after you start posting once you clean up the graveyard. The ceiling will slowly move up. All right, the second thing is post consistently for 60 days minimum. Your trust score rewards predictability. YouTube plans distribution in advance for channels it can count on, but you have to build that trust. Every gap in your posting history tells YouTube you are unreliable, and it will reset the trust that it's been building. 60 days of consistent uploads sends a clear signal that you're a safe bet for the distribution budget. All right, the third thing, optimize every title for cold audiences, not your existing subscribers. Your trust score determines the size of your test group, but your suggested click-through rate determines whether you pass the test and break through that ceiling. Under a 3% click-through rate means cold audiences are not clicking and the ceiling stays in place. Above a 3.5% consistently means YouTube starts moving the ceiling higher for every upload. The ceiling YouTube set on your channel is not permanent. That's the good news. It's a calculation based on your history, and history can be changed one upload at a time. Clean up your past, post consistently, and give cold audiences a title worth clicking. And YouTube has no choice but to raise the ceiling. Now, with this all being said, your test group, you can actually create a better one. So this way here, when your video gets uploaded, it sends better signals to the YouTube algorithm to actually help your video get pushed. And if you want to see exactly how to look at your test group, but also how to make it better, I shot a video right here that takes you through exactly what that test group looks like and how to make yours better. Watch that video next, and we'll see you there.